New Observationist, sponsored by Bruce Pugsley Channel. Hello everyone, welcome to my video titled Orbs on the Moon. I have found some locations on the moon that look like bases with orbs parked out in front. You know, the shiny, round, metal objects that float over our major cities, like Phoenix, Seattle, Denver, or even Moscow and Jerusalem, that people call UFOs. I'm going to show you some pictures of some orbs in order to demonstrate some samples of the type of reflections they give off. I will use the terms orbs and spheres interchangeably during this video since they have the same characteristics. The NASA images and the coordinates I'm about to provide are real. That is, if you believe NASA images are real. Here are some examples of some orbs I found on the internet. You may have already seen some of these yourself while viewing other sites or here on YouTube. My objective is to show you what to look for when viewing a reflection on a spherical object. This image is from the space shuttle shown during the satellite launch, and it shows the orb sitting just at the horizon. Notice the light source comes from above, leaving the bottom of the orb dark. But since it's on the horizon, you can see the curved bottom against the backlight of the Earth. Another orb is showing half below and half above the horizon, again showing the curved top reflecting the sunlight and the shaded curved bottom highlighted by the Earth's backlight. This orb is further above the horizon and is emitting or reflecting some light. On this image, I suspect either sunlight is coming from the back side on the right or left, or maybe there's no reflection because the cloud cover blocking any direct sunlight. I'm not sure this is a legit pic because of the box around the orb. When I zoom in here, I can see this big box around this orb here. But it does show the hot spot on the top center matching the direction of the sun, as you can see looking at the shadows on the vents on the roof of the house below. This image was captured by Apollo 13. And these two orbs followed him up. And as they were launching a satellite, they took a picture of it. Reflections of the sunlight is very bright on those two orbs, indicating very shiny objects. The bright spots are referred to as hot spots, which are common on a curved surface. The sun must have been behind the Apollo capsule. Here are some examples how the light source creates a hot spot on a sphere. You can see the center of the hot spot is the brightest and then diffuses as it moves away from that center point. On these, I believe there's actually two light sources, because you can see a small hot spot here and a larger one here. If the surface is shiny, you can actually see the shape of the light source as it is almost mirror-like. And I believe with these are reflecting a fluorescent light from above. Even non-shiny surfaces can create a reflective hotspot, as shown in this rubber ball. The reflection still shows the bright center of the hotspot with the diffusion as you move away from that point, but you cannot identify the shape of the light source. Even with a glossy covering on a sphere, the shape of the light source is somewhat apparent. And again, I believe this one is probably another fluorescent light because it looks kind of rectangular. And a bowling ball is a good example of how the light reflects off a sphere. I suspect this light is coming from the camera flash as the picture was taken. When the orbs are shiny and metallic, like a mirror, they reflect very bright hot spots. This orb is a really good example of what you would expect to see, but I think something is amiss. If you look at the buildings, you can see that the sunlight is coming from the right side of the image, since that wall is brighter and the shady wall is facing us. But when you look at this orb, you can see in the reflection there is light directly behind the photographer, just below the horizon. Good example of an orb, but I think the picture doesn't seem to match up too well. Now this is a picture I like. This one has a really good example of the type of reflections you would expect to see on a shiny metal orb. Notice the 3 reflections. The light reflecting from the right, creating the hot spot, right there on the right. And then you have the second reflection, which is the sky reflecting off the top half of the orb. Top half of the orb's brighter. And then the ocean being reflected off the bottom half of the orb. The bottom half is darker. You got 3 reflections. I think that's a really good example of what you would expect to see. And here's a NASA image of an orb on the moon. The image is very blurry, but you can see the hot spot on the top left with the shadow of the orb in the lower right. You can tell the sunlight's coming in here. It's hitting this mountain right here, this little hill, and the back part of this hill is shadowed. So the sunlight's coming in here, it's hitting the front of this orb, creating this hot spot. And then down here on the ground, you can actually see the shadow below it. Now this here is actually a video that you can see that NASA has. It's in the video. I just happened to take a screenshot of it. The video is probably a little bit clearer, but it's not that much clearer. I'm going to show you one of these locations. You should be able to recognize the right angles, straight lines, and rectangular shapes as not something that would be common in nature. You can clearly see more than one structure at this location. As you can see on the ruler inset, the area is just a bit larger than a football field. This site does not match the surrounding area's landscape. There are many locations, as you will see. These are not impact craters. And finally, notice how they have their nice shiny orb parked out in front of the garage just to the left side of the driveway. Ha ha ha. Now it's time for you to see where these orbs come from. You will need to use the Google Earth program and select the Saturn icon on the toolbar and switch to the moon. One thing you may be interested in while you're looking at these locations I'm about to provide to you is to use the ruler option of Google Earth. It's the ruler icon to the right side of the Saturn icon, and use it to measure the size of these locations, you know, just for fun. So here's the coordinates. Remember, these are not my images. They are NASA images. Enjoy. This channel was created not only to get out this information to you, but to direct traffic to my sponsor's channel, Bruce Pugsley. He was abandoned on the front steps of the shelter and almost blind when we got him 6 years ago, but since last summer he can't see a thing, not even a flashlight in front of his face. He hopes to raise some donations so he can get cataract surgery. He has some videos on his channel for you to enjoy, and they are all free. Just type in Bruce Pugsley in the YouTube search bar and hit the enter key. Thanks for watching my video, and see more at my channel, New Observationist. Spread the word and enjoy your adventure.